Hello and welcome to the Rainbow Room International podcast channel. Today is the first episode in Stars of the Brand, where we invite stylists that have been with the brand for 15 years and longer to tell us their story from their side of the business. You've heard the directors tell their story, so it's going to be really great to hear some of the stylists to tell theirs. And today we've got what I would class as the star of the brand, which is Pamela Wallace, who I grew up under, and loads of successful stylists have grown up under. Quite frankly, watching her, studying her, and trying to be half as good as her. So she's going to be fabulous today. So as ever, sit down, get comfy, enjoy. If you're driving, keep an eye on the road and enjoy the podcast. Hello, Pam.
Hello, Ricardo.
Good morning. Good afternoon or good evening. I don't like to a time. I always put a timestamp on these things. I'm like, no meant to do it. So, behind the scenes for everybody at home, this has taken me a month and a half to talk Pam into doing this.
Over a year. You started last Congress.
Well, since the first one, I know. And but we couldn't start Stars of the Brand without you, because it would just be a pointless effort of doing 25 more podcasts if we didn't have you first. Because if anybody's walked the talk and if anybody's been in the trenches in Rainbow Room's history, it's been you. And you know fine well that I'm never off the phone fact-checking information that other directors have told me to make sure that the timeline's right. So most important thing, because again, this was slightly based on you. But if I'm being, you were the original inspiration for this in the first place. So obviously, Linda or
Definitely Linda.
Definitely not.
I've got one for you though. So
Oh.
a fruit salad.
A fruit
salad with onions and tomatoes.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. So the story being, I was just telling somebody the story about this last week, and that I got sent to get lunch for the stylist I grew up under called Linda Berdetti. And Pam and Linda were so busy that they probably had 5 minutes, if they were lucky, to get their lunch. And it was the most important thing because you couldn't get it wrong because they never had a chance to get it. And I get sent out to get her a mixed salad.
My nectarine's funny right this morning, so I never chose nectarine.
And the other side of the salad bar had fruit in it, and I put the whole thing together.
Onions, tomatoes,
everything. It
cucumber.
Was the whole shebang. She just looked over at me, the wee glare over the top of her glasses, which you'd never forget if you got it. So touche. Now the problem is that we've got both gentlemen behind the scenes now, so they're going to have to fight over half of a wisp of gold each. But there you go, sirs. Well done. Right. So there's the ambulance already. Not going to sell a lot of ice cream going at that speed, is he, boys? Thank you very much. We've decided that we're not going to switch off for there's a hospital down the back.
Right.
So we don't switch off now because we used to stop it all the time. Right. So the reason for the chocolate is Pam could literally nibble. How long would that take?
Last me half an hour.
That's 4
Very
bites.
annoying,
4 bites. If I'm lucky, I'm getting out of a Linda.
That's 2 for my husband.
You would nibble, just nibble away.
Nibble.
Right, so
Right.
the beginning, the start.
Right.
Where were you born?
I was born in Edinburgh.
Right.
I'm an only child, and my mum had me quite late, so she had to go to Edinburgh. But I grew up in Kirkcaldy.
Uh-huh.
I went to school in Kirkcaldy. I remember the guidance teacher at the wee school asking what I wanted to do. And I said I would like to be in Pan's People.
Did you?
I remember saying that.
Brilliant. So for those watching in black and white, Pan's People were the dance crew on Top of the Pops.
Four Legs and Co.
And long before Legs and Co. Pan's People. So if an artist didn't turn up to be live on Top of the Pops, they would just play the song, and these girls would get out and dance and do their thing. And now would probably be illegal. I think you probably wouldn't be allowed to do something like that now. It's probably when you do it on a Friday night, you watch it back, you go,
I know.
They get away with that. Whereas, who was the mob that was on Hot
Kerry Everett?
Who was on Kerry Everett's one? They weren't hot. So there was a hot something.
Arlene Phillips. Hot Gossip.
Hot Gossip. Yeah.
Starship Trooper.
We'll move on from that anyway. So
anyway, then I went to high school in Kirkcaldy as well.
So you had a guidance teacher in primary school?
I'm sure. I remember Mrs.
Posh
Johnson. I'm sure
that's
I
a bit of
remember.
posh primary school.
When you finished it, if you were clever, they said, "Well, what do you actually want to do?"
Yeah, but you weren't like 11 plus and all that. That
No,
all
my
gone.
mum always said that was a bad thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
then you got put in with the folk that weren't wanting to learn. When it was ditched, the 11 plus. No,
Stabbing each other with
plus.
protractors and all that crew.
Then I went to high school. I quite liked high school. I was in the netball team.
Right.
And I went to the same school as Gordon Brown. He was before me.
All right.
He was head boy, I think.
There's a surprise.
I got 5 hires. So I was kind of discouraged for doing hairdressing.
And had you thought about it at that point?
I loved doing hair. I used to do all my pals' hair in my bedroom and everything.
So you were doing that, you were one of that crew, because
I
it's
was one of that
amazing,
crew.
like when we get interviews and the young team are coming in and their wee face lights up and they're always going like, oh, I do all my pals here and I do this and I do that. So you were one of them.
They're really good when they start now, aren't they?
Yeah.
The young ones can...
And were you doing that? Were you...
Aye, and I did, like, I always had Saturday jobs since I was about 12.
Right.
So, like, when I started doing hair, I had loads of people to practice on.
Right.
Because I'd kind of made loads of contacts. So I was going to do dietetics, but then I hated higher chemistry because it was hard.
Aye.
It was much harder than all-grade chemistry. And then I was good at languages, but then I don't think I would have went abroad. You had to always go abroad for a year if you did languages at uni.
Is that right?
And I don't think I
you
would have left my mum and dad.
Which is a bit ironic now, if you think about it, you know what I mean?
I know I like going
You
abroad.
would probably like a wee departure
I know.
lounge trip now with all that.
So then... the girl that did my hair, I was always dead impressed with. No, I was like you as well. My mum always took me to a good hairdresser.
Yeah, right.
Because I remember you saying that in one of your things.
Well, it was just always her priority. It was just the one thing that was her thing. And you would sort of sit there and it obviously
watch it all.
come in. So,
And then the girl that did my hair when I was in my teens, she was always abroad. She was like, I remember her showing me pictures of the Hall & Oates in America and everything.
Wow.
She was like
And
a
where
sort of
was-
jet
where-
set.
and
In
was that-
Kirkcaldy, a
and that
salon in
work rate?
Kirkcaldy.
Yeah.
Aye. And then she ended up being kind of friendly with me and used to come to my house and do my hair and everything. So she was probably my hero when I was growing up. And then I went to Telford College in 1983 in Edinburgh because that was the first combined course where you could do hairdressing and beauty therapy as well because I like doing makeup.
Yeah, right.
I always used to do all my pals' makeup. And that was 80s when
Yeah,
makeup
of course,
was...
when there was lots of it.
Aye. Mind you, I'd have to retrain now because now you're kind of making a new face with the makeup.
You'd be right back the other way. Which is interesting because David and I were just at Glasgow College of Commerce, whatever the hell it's called now, and it was really interesting the amount of the young team that were coming from doing the combined one, doing the first year of combined and really falling in love with hairdressing. And the ones that said it were really shocked because they were really wanting to go down the makeup route.
I probably was as well. I like doing the makeup probably better.
And that's what they thought they were getting into. But when they got halfway through, the shift happened and they decided that they wanted to do hair, which was really interesting.
Especially nowadays, you'd rather be up this end and down that end if it were waxing and stuff.
No, thank you. No,
we'll
give that. We'll give that.
No.
That's like one of the ones. It's a bit like when you go to vet school and you think you're going to be saving animals' lives and they don't tell you, by the way, you're going to have to put them down. It's a bit the same with beauty. You think you're going to be doing makeup and this actually no, it's majority is hair removal. Enjoy. Crack on. So how long were you at college for?
3 years.
3 years.
And
So
like
did you
the teacher, I did a combined course, but the teacher we had was brilliant. Her daughter worked in Chains in Edinburgh.
Right.
So we used to get like all the stuff that Chains were doing. And like she did, I got to go and do a photo shoot with Robin Galanders.
Right.
That worked for, he did all the photos for Chains at the time. Right. And I brought my Patches magazine.
All right.
Remember Patches? The photo shoots.
Oh, no, that's before me.
Martin Harkett.
Oh, wow.
So like I got to do stuff like that. Just through her. She was really, really good. So that was 3 years. And like we used to go to hair shows in London down at the Hippodrome. And then we would go to like the 100 Club after it. It was all hairdressers and I just thought, I really like this much better than beauty. Beauty was a bit, I don't know, it was like the kind of white apron and it wasn't makeup. You weren't doing makeup, you were doing facials and waxing and nail.
They kind of looked down at us though, didn't they? Because it had a wee bit of a slightly higher qualification.
No, I think a lot of posh girls that weren't very bright did beauty.
Aye. Allegedly.
Sometimes.
Aye, sometimes. Right. Aye, that was the vibe I got when I started to Buchanan Street. Then it did always feel like that, and you were going, oh, crack on. Let me know how you got on, you know. But and that world's changed completely.
And that's so different now as well, because makeup's such a big thing, isn't it?
Completely different.
I know.
But so the Hippodrome stuff, would that have been before the alternative though? That would have been,
Might have been.
That would have been
Aye,
even
about
before
84
that.
maybe.
Yeah, which again's mental when you think of John's story and David's story about being down there and being in the same place.
Aye.
Same place, because obviously the stage coming up and
There's
all
a lot
that
of
kind of
connections,
stuff,
eh?
which must have been where all the organising team behind the alternative must have got the idea of using that as a venue in the first place. And you know what I mean? You're kicking about in there in 84. That's
maybe
amazing.
83.
Yeah.
It was 83 I started.
Yeah.
Like we used to do like competitions, like body painting competitions as well. You would have liked that. But I couldn't find it. I think my body painting thing was on the front of the Herald in Edinburgh.
Wow.
And it was a girl painted just like the little drummer boy, but she just had her breeks on.
Right, all right.
I couldn't find that. It's in my mum's house somewhere.
Again, probably not allowed anymore as well.
No, you wouldn't be allowed that anymore, body painting.
Imagine,
no,
it's hard enough
Ricardo would have liked that better than the Patches magazine.
I was going to say, it's hard enough trying to get a client for a flat top or a pair, never mind the chance I can paint your body. Well, it's going to look a bit weird. So were you getting to do work experience during that time?
I did that, and then when I finished, I did, like I used to get Hairdresser's Journal every week at John Menzies, and then Dom Miguel was opening a second salon in Kirkcaldy, so when I finished, it was good timing. He was opening a big salon in Kirkcaldy. It was like an old furniture shop with big windows and everything, with a training school upstairs.
Did he?
So that was really nice. So I went for an interview in the Glenrothes salon, which was a nightmare because I took my dad's car, and I remember it was a horrible night. The heated rear screen I left on when I was in doing models and things, and the battery was flat. That was a nightmare. And so I done that. And so I used to be like Dom's assistant. I think that was for the first 3 months. Wow. Because you know how like they never really trust people that have trained at college.
No, it was kind of vardering.
It was a bit. And I used to do loads of models on a Wednesday night. And then I did all his colours, perms and style dries.
Did you?
For 3 months solid. Aye.
Wow.
And then I went on the floor.
Wow. He's a legend, isn't he?
He's really nice.
Of all, I was really lucky to kind of just sort of being in Alan and Linda's orbit and getting taken to stuff. And, you know, of all of the people that I'd either ever looked up to or they'll not know who I am kind of thing, George Patterson and Dom Miguel, no matter where you were, at any point, at any time, would always say hello. And I've always felt as a older hairdresser now.
I thought you were going to say the Italian
No. I was always as an older hairdresser now that just I have, you know, even if it's Congress, just you know that way, just saying hello to absolutely everybody, because they made me feel so accepted and special at that time, and if you can pass that back down. But you know, you see him. I know you're not on Instagram, but he's still, you know, training nights and pushing the business and all that.
Because I used to do all the makeup for their photo shoots as well. Right. Him and Alison Fight, like she got her own salon as well. Yeah. And we used to go to seminars in Edinburgh, and then it was quite weird. We did I think he was on holiday, and me and Alison were in Glasgow doing a L'Oreal colour course at Kramer's in Union Street. When Union Street was nice. Before it was dodgy.
I used to get my hair cut in that salon.
Oh, did you? Up the stairs?
Up the stairs. So the right-hand side was the school, wasn't it? And it was funny, I in one of the podcasts we talk about Union Street because it was on fire at that point. Union Street, I mean, obviously we're talking now after the fire, literally, which is heartbreaking. But the demise of Union Street is just a architectural street, because it is beautiful. It's still underneath there somewhere, and it's absolutely beautiful. But just, you know, the left-hand side, obviously having Virgin and HMV. I mean, when I played American football, you bought your gear in the roof at Virgin. Quarterback Sports was up there, so you were never out of there. All my pals were Saturday guys in Shoe across the road, and then you had Ing, the clothes shop, and all that. That wee hub there was just, it was amazing. But my late sister Bernadette used to get her hair cut by a girl in Kramer's in the left-hand side, and the academy was in the right-hand side. But where that always comes, there was a wee guy in my class in 4th year, and he, out of nowhere, went, I'm going to train as a hairdresser. And I'm, you know that way, and it was like, just came out of the ether, and he says, I'm going to train at Kramer's. And I went, I used to get my hair cut in there. And it was amazing. But that was a great looking salon as well. But still that thing of first floor. You know, it was still that thing. So you were through there.
We were through there for a colour course, and I think Dom was on holiday. So he'd got tickets for the H&E Sand fashion show in the City Chambers.
Wow.
So me and Alison went to that, and I think Drew went as well. And it was the Rainbow Room that were doing the hair for it.
Of course.
So it's quite weird because it's Stephen as well.
That's mental. So what year would that have been?
Maybe... Well, I started in the Rainbow Room 88, so that would be 86 or 87 maybe.
So did Stephen have the shop already?
Because at that time he worked 2 days, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah. Because he was doing that by the time I turned up. But I didn't realise the shop was as early as that.
Aye. But it's funny because when he left, he recommended a lot of his clients to me, which I was really flattered about because I loved his hairdressing.
Oh, his hairdressing, I know.
And like
his clients were...
Now, I still do loads of them.
Oh, they were all amazing. He was my first... His client was my first shiatsu.
Oh, is it?
Aye, because at the time when I first started, I wasn't off on a Tuesday yet. So I worked the Tuesday because I was on the course. I was off on the Monday, and then that got flipped when I became Linda's assistant. So the first ever client I ever shiatsu'd for was one of Stephen's.
Probably somebody I still do.
Probably is.
Aye.
I'll tell you it is when the camera's on the go.
All right. And, I think I know who it is.
You're going to
In fairness.
Well done. But his stories were just...
Well, I still go swimming when I'm on holiday in the morning. I meet him in the morning, we go swimming.
He's just a legend. Just an absolute... He was a legend.
Aye, so they were doing the hair, and then I had booked my wedding by this point, so I had to look for a job through in the West because my husband came to the West.
Right.
So I in my hairdresser's journal again, it was the 1988 expansion programme that Rainbow Room were doing.
Wow.
So then I came for an interview.
He's brilliant at coming up with a name. And he's a genius for that, like the expansion programme.
So that was me starting.
Right. So you were technically the expansion.
So I came for my interview. That was in my wee red Chevette. It was £270 up the market. Drove through for Kirkcaldy in the snow. I remember it was a blizzard and I was driving my wee Chevette with my 2 models, both dead short hair, which you wouldn't be now. It would be like hair down here. Yeah. And Linda, at first I came at Buchanan Street. I was dead nervous, and as I am today, and that was the wrong salon. And like I was redirected over to Royal Exchange Square.
I did the opposite. I went to 15 and they went, no, your interview's in Buchanan Street. I'm going,
no.
Didn't even know there was one in Buchanan Street.
So you had to find it. So I went over there.
No
and
Google sat nav.
I remember Linda interviewed me. I remember she'd a black leather skirt and a black mohair.
Right.
So she interviewed me downstairs, and then I got the job. And then it was funny because the other place I'd applied to was Littlewood and Beaton in Hamilton because Barry had opened that. But I'd already accepted the job like at the Rainbow Room. And then they got back to me, so I never went for an interview there or anything. Because that was handier, obviously, because it was in Hamilton. That was near where I stayed.
It's amazing, though, how everybody's got these sliding doors moments in their story that it just kind of... It would only have taken... Oh, you know what? I'll just go there and like the absolute history. And I'm not being funny, but the history about the brand would have been completely different if you hadn't went that way. That's mental.
I know, it's weird. So then I started in Buchanan Street in April 12th April 1988.
Right.
I know that because I was just back on my honeymoon. I got married on the 1st April. So it was. I felt kind of
married
at home.
on April Fool's Day.
I did, aye.
Did you do that deliberately?
No, we met on the 2nd and I couldn't get a Saturday for my wedding, so I got married on the Good Friday because everybody was off on holiday and it was Easter weekend.
Brilliant.
Aye, so I felt quite at home because it was a 365 salon. So I came with like my news and views, and at that time...
So Dom was in 365 at that point as well?
So it was all Leslie Spears and everything. And I came in, I was still doing hair plans because I remember asking for hair plans. Remember hair plans?
Yeah.
You had to tick like you did a full consultation. Yeah. So I think they thought I was a bit geeky because I was like, have you got hair plans? I can't do a consultation without a hair plan.
Oh, wow. And then news and views, did you see Yaz brought hers out?
I can't find mine, but I will have it somewhere.
Oh, I have no idea. I actually threw my life out about 3 weeks ago. Jackie was really impressed with me, the fact that I've thrown everything out. So no, I wouldn't have mine, but I did bring a, see for your promotion, remember you used to have to do these? Artistic portfolio. Yeah. Oh no, that I do still have. I've still got one of
like
them.
All the before and afters, and the head sheets and everything. And it's funny because I still do quite a lot of the clients when I found that.
Do you know what's really mad is I would have presumed you were already like salon directory and way past all of that.
I started, it was a designer stylist, I think.
Right.
So that's what I was looking up as well. When I started, I was £9 like Tuesday, Wednesday, and £11 at the end of the week.
Well, again,
and at that time, Alan was £17 and £19,
Yeah.
and you were thinking, £19 for
That's
a haircut.
mental.
And then I remember, were you at the staff meeting when
Yes.
Alan talked about a £50
£50
haircut,
haircut.
and somebody said, laughed at him.
Aye. Sure it wasn't you?
No, I know who it was. He'd left to join the police. Remember, I'm not saying any names.
I absolutely remember that, and I remember you talking about it because I now have a meeting with my team going. At some point, one of you will be a £200 haircut. You know, I don't think that where we're at now, and like where our levels that we've got, salon director 6 is the top level, and it's at £110. It's £115. So I don't think Scotland's 10 years away maybe from a £200 haircut, and as a brand we're nearly over £100 for an average bill as well. But yes, the £50 haircut, and I was like shock and horror. But
and that was at one of our staff meetings, the Kaizen meetings on a Wednesday night. And we used to go to the Regano after that.
The Kaizen meetings were legendary. But again, you'd have been hitting your figures, so you wouldn't have needed to go to as many, would you? Did you not get to not go?
Went every week.
Well, you would, because that's hence the reason why.
Hence
the reason why you are the star of the brand.
And then remember your client. Remember we used to do role playing. The actors and actresses used to come.
Alison used to do all the. She used to do all the. I mean, again, we used to film that. And that was another reason why I get into all of this, because he would obviously have us filming the consultations, and we'd have the mics, and you'd have me away geeking out trying to find lapel mics and big long cables, and there was no Bluetooth. Then hadn't been invented, and so all of that kind of stuff's just so ahead of the time. What was the transition like coming from? Because the thing that always interests me, because obviously with the directors, there's about 50% sort of grew up in the brand and 50% came from other salons. What was it like coming from Dom's and then coming into Rainbow Room? Was it made easier because they were both 365 salons?
Definitely. And I think, it was a bit, I remember just thinking everybody was so well dressed as well in the Rainbow Room. And I remember like on the staff room wall, and the wage of the month was up, and at that time it was £1,000. Yeah. I was like £1,000.
Can't be doing
for a
that.
hairdresser.
And you used to have those. Remember the teams as well. Maybe you used to have to you had to be part of a team, because Linda and Tommy, and I think they had Carol. Were they the Lions or something like that? I can always
the Lions, the Tiger. I've still got a mirror about that size with that on it
from winning it,
and it's
Nobody else remembers this, right?
It's
not sure.
Don't know where it is.
I was going to ask
you.
You must have some sort of wing stroke shed that you, because Jackie, my garage is covered in Rainbow Room awards. None of them say Ricardo Corvi, right? They all say Jacqueline Curran. But I know we're jumping the gun here, right? I remember silver trays. Am I making that up?
Decanter and glasses.
It's like and a silver tray. Yeah, I remember that completely. And then the best one ever was, and I wind him up all the time when he's talking about new ideas, and I always go, "What about earrings?" Because remember Linda got the Rainbow Room logo. So again, Linda Bardetti got to the point where there was just nothing else she could win, and Alan and Linda couldn't come up with any ideas, right? And every year we would go, just give her a holiday voucher. Right?
Well, that was what impressed me when I started as well. I remember one of my first ever staff meetings, one of the girls that worked in the Paisley salon got a trip to Paris.
Did she?
For doing a lot of requests.
Right. Is that right? Right. So she should have done that for Linda, right? But eventually I've got the old logo that Pam's got beside her. I've got in my hat. She got these earrings. And the thing was, Linda was head to toe in diamonds at all times, wasn't she? She'd wear Chanel earrings and all that kind of stuff. We're all going, oh, aye, she's going to be taking her Chanel earrings out and put them. And the thing is, it probably cost a fortune to get made. And they were probably, they would have been gold. They would have been the real deal. It was just absolutely.
They were, because you got a valuation.
But there's no way wee Linda B was going to be taking her earrings out. So you found the transition because of the 365 background. Pretty good.
It was just a kind of bigger version.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, right? Because I kind of timeline wise I forgot. But again, one of my memories of you was the time that Leslie Spears came,
with the money under the seat.
And he was like that to somebody. He went, who wants £20? He lifted it up, and you just went straight away, me. You know what I mean?
No, it was like who thinks they're of value to the company or something. And everybody was sitting like that, saying, no. And a few people put their hand up and they, take the £20 bag. Was there no money under all the seats? Pound notes under all the seats?
No, he put 20 quid
No,
up.
I got a 50. I got a 50.
Well, maybe that's what you lifted up. Yeah, it was me. I used to do all the hiding under the seats, but it was like booze or peppers or crisps or something like that. It was never cash. It was always I made Gina and Carol sellotape 250 party poppers underneath the seats at Congress when you're like first thing in the morning. They're like that, really, Ricardo? Can I do it at night time? So starting off.
Starting off, a few of my clients came for $5.
Yeah.
And then that kind of petered out a bit because it was.
That would have been a mental journey back then.
Trip.
That wouldn't have been an easy. It wouldn't have been an easy trip. And how long did it take you to feel like, right, I'm meant to be here?
Probably a wee while. I remember sitting in the toilets quite a lot when I first started.
There's a lot of that chat as well. Anyway, there's a few that's came through quite a bit with some of those well good lads.
Well, there's a lot of big personalities though at the time.
Yeah, so you'd have had obviously Linda B, Alan, Tina, I guess. Would
no,
have been,
she wasn't there then.
Was Tina not there then either?
No, she started well after me.
Did she?
Aye.
Right.
Because I remember when she started, she was exactly 10 years older than me, and I thought, she's far too old to be a hairdresser. Because I think she was about 35 then. I was thinking, why is somebody that age starting?
Still doing it. Wow. Oh, right, I had that flipped then.
No, I was before Tina.
Right, wow.
Because I think Tina had been like years before and then left.
Yeah.
And came back.
Yeah, right. And then who else? Who else was in?
There was Anne that left to be an air hostess. There was Laurie, who was a bit scary.
Right.
She just kind of wore like a shirt and tights.
Right.
And her makeup was like, you shouldn't really say that in case you're...
Right.
No, she looked a bit like Robert Smith with the Cure.
Right, okay.
Really big
yeah.
lips.
Just went for it, aye.
She was a wee bit frightening. She was kind of in charge of the juniors. She used to say, perfect your duties.
All right.
You would have been frightened at her.
Oh, no, I quite like her.
That was what impressed me as well when I started, because all the juniors paid to work there. All the assistants paid.
Which was interesting.
Yes,
that's
was
another story.
Interesting.
But that's
Did
another
you
one.
work with Claire that used to bring in donuts for her dad's bakery?
No.
I think she did chippy as well.
Don't know.
No, she used to always bring in hot donuts in the morning.
No. I don't remember that. I would definitely.
And you remember Remo.
Well, no, yeah. So was Remo there?
Remo was after me.
Yeah.
Remo and Thomas started no long after me, I think.
Yeah. Because they'd been a couple of years. Remo's first.
So were they just a couple of years before you? Yeah. When did you start?
90.
All right, aye.
Remo's first question: what team do you support? That's hilarious. But
Remo that had illnesses if there was a cup final.
Aye. Again, we're jumping the gun, right? The things, and this is what's really funny, right? Because obviously your assistants don't look at you thinking that you were them at any point. And obviously I was the guy with I had the personal stereos and had all the toys and all that. So, and obviously Tommy and Remo would have money on every sport, whether it was Wimbledon or whether it was a football or whatever. And there would have been either a semi-final or a cup final. And obviously we're neutralising perms, so you're there for a good 10, 15 minutes with the spirals. And I'd have the wee speaker, like the wee in-ear, up my sleeve with the radio in, like that, leaning, rinsing the perms, right? So that I could keep a note, and the two of them would be like...
still talking.
Like, I'd still be talking, I wouldn't be like that. And I would be neutralising my perfect neutralising of perms. That was my problem. I was that good at it. That's all I got to bloody do. I got to put any colour on, and then I would listen to that. So again, the things that you pull kids up for now, and you make go, it was way worse. So I was keeping them abreast of the situation.
So were you at the first Congress then as well?
No. I think I was either at the second or the third. So my first Congress would have been 91.
Aye. Because I think the first one was 89, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And then obviously it was the pantomime before that, wasn't it? He's always waxed lyrically about how great the pantomime was. But it was great when Alan was looking, when we went back, we're kind of about 3 months after Congress, and we did a whole thing this time round about, well, you can see it, obviously, the live version. We did podcast live, so you can go back and watch those episodes. But we did a kind of where we came from, bit of history, where we're at now, where we're going, past, present, future kind of thing. And Alan's got video footage of the first one, and there's, there's about 23 of you
Aye,
sitting at that table, and he
Aye.
comes out, and of course Linda's trying to press play and the music and all that kind of thing, and then Alan comes out all intense with the ponytail and the glasses and all that, Scary Bob, and he's looking at it and he's like, even he's looking at it thinking, it seemed so big then.
I know.
And he said it felt so big, because again he's going, where's that? And we're like, well, it's got to be Irvine, it's got to be Drinks at the Lagoon at the Hospitality Inn. And he's like, God, it felt so big. But there would have been as many assistants then. So for as much as there might have been, between the three salons at that point, what were you looking at? Maybe about 25, 30 stylists if you were lucky. But there'd have been 35 assistants probably in reception. So there still would have been a good squad, and nobody was doing anything like it either. So did that feel quite unique at that point? Like,
Aye, that was unique.
Yeah.
But still, I remember going to loads of seminars and things in Edinburgh with Dom, but then I remember going to see Trevor Sorby at the Hilton. Were you at that? Trevor Sorby at the Hilton? And Angelo Seminaro.
Yes.
Was that the exhibition centre? Was that the SCC?
I think he was assisting them at
that one, aye.
Yeah.
Because I remember meeting Joanna there as well.
Aye. Yeah. Well, the first one's where he put the idea into taking her. And then the second time he came up, he introduced her to Lee, and he went, "You're not getting her. I'll come down the road and kill you if you try and poach her." I said, "I'll let you away with that one." He went, "You're not getting this one." He tried to poach her as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Congress is something that everybody talks about, and it's this mythical thing. And
it was good to have it all day again this year.
Well, we put it back to.
And the art team show was brilliant.
Proper
this year.
Congress,
it was
and
right,
it
right
was
up my
amazing.
street,
The hair was unbelievable, and obviously all the kind of.
Remember other years we had Leslie Jennison and Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
But then our art team's just as good.
Oh, no, they're superstars as well, and again their backstory is unbelievable. But what's always really interesting is when you see where either our art team take the Schwarzkopf information that they've taught at the start of the year and take it down their own lineage, or even just the British ambassadors of Schwarzkopf take the global look and where they turn that into. It's always amazing. So building your clientele in Glasgow, I mean, Buchanan Street was mental at the time. So they were getting unbelievable amounts
so busy.
New clients and stuff like that.
Because I remember one time Alan asked, like, if I would want to take weekends off sometimes because we didn't have enough seats.
And no space.
It was just full.
Which is...
You were out in the street down here.
I was
in the sunshine.
In the sunshine. Which again, all that kind of stuff, nobody believes you. Nobody thinks that you did it.
I know.
Standing there, going, "Do you work for Sassoons?" I'm like, "No, we're not there." See, it still amazes me. That building's been there for 47 years. It's, obviously we've grew up in the brand, and it's the hub of all hairdressing as far as I'm concerned in Glasgow, and people have walked past it for all these years, and everybody goes, "Oh, is there one in Buchanan Street?" I'm like, "You don't see the flags? There's like 8 giant flags, And obviously that hung out those windows, but that's another story. So did you find building your clientele pretty straightforward then, just because of the sheer amount of new clients you were getting?
Probably. Aye.
Yeah.
Think so.
Because at no point, I mean, I know myself. Yes, we had to do the self-promotions to get to the style.
Because if you didn't have a client, you were out in the street bringing people in.
But once you were on the floor, it was a case of keeping them. It wasn't a case of getting them. I think the most important thing was,
loads of people had short hair then as well, so they came every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They come twice a year for a cut and colour. Hair down to here.
Do you think... I know you never want to kind of think that, we grew up in a golden period of hairdressing, but I do think sort of, because you'd have been hit with Farahs and all that, because you're still the first person I saw with the brushes still in,
leaving
the round brushes and leaving them in. It's funny. Like, my guys were doing it on Saturday. Got a box of Nioxin round brushes for that very purpose. It was about 20 round brushes, and they all get left in all this here, and how it's this wondrous, new, amazing thing. And I laugh because you'd have these wee tiny wee wire round brushes, and they'd all be sitting in the client's ear. So you kind of had the tail end of the Farah and the kind of mids,
I think I was after Farah.
Still perming and still doing all that, but then got to that point where it was that kind of late 80s, early 90s, chopping hair off and short and undercuts and fringes coming off and all that. So do you feel you kind of got to grow up in that kind of golden age of cutting, especially?
Aye, probably, aye. Yeah. But it was more cutting than dressing.
Yeah. And at that point, did you have a direction? Did you kind of, had you decided that you
I
wanted
just
to...
wanted to be as busy as the busiest people in the salon.
Was it? Yeah.
Aye, probably.
Yeah. You're kind of looking around and going, right, I want to do that. And did you then focus pretty much on being a salon stylist at that point? You made that decision. Had you dipped your toe into the art team stuff for any of that?
No,
I mean,
really,
I know you'd done it a wee bit,
I
obviously.
think before I got married I had.
Yeah.
But then I think just it was such a big thing to actually go home and make the dinner and everything.
Aye.
Because I'd always been a pampered, spoilt brat.
Brilliant. Right. And
so was Drew.
So he was
pampered brat as well.
So you had to take over the role of doing the pampering?
No, the two of us were struggling.
Right, very was it? Well, that's interesting though, isn't it? Because for all in my head, obviously coming in after you and growing up and seeing you just grinding the numbers and all that, and in my head thinking, oh yeah, we all went down the art team route because Alan would push us that way because he saw us as salon owners or whatever. You actually did it too, really. It's not really that you didn't, because at the end of the day, you did it up to a period where you went to but you went as a voyeur rather than actually producing the work. But then you did, because you were doing the makeup and you were helping Dom and you were involved in that. So all of that world still came in, and then, as you say, you were going to John Menzies and buying your hairdresser's journal. Not everybody, to this day, the amount of people that don't actually look at hairdressing sort of paraphernalia or hairdressing production or magazines or whatever is startling, to say the least.
I always loved a hairbook as well, even like when I was young, going to get my hair cut.
Aye.
And like, it was funny, see at the Congress, some of the old Rainbow Room pictures, I remember taking them and saying, I want that.
Aye. And then doing
all the really short ones.
So it's interesting that from the outside looking in, thinking, oh, you're a 96 stylist and you're going to do 10 clients a day and you're going to churn these numbers.
12.
Going, you'd actually, you were still doing, it was still doing that. You were still taking all that information in, and it was still ended up on your clients here. You just, weren't in the bus to London anymore because you were trying to figure it out.
I'd rather been a backing singer than a lead singer.
Try to figure it out, make your tea. So when the 365 thing was obviously about being accountable for yourself.
That was what I noticed more as well when I came to the Rainbow Room. It was like everybody was running their own business, really.
Yeah, because we were always taught that, weren't you? You were always Pamela Inc. within the brand of Rainbow Room International. And at the end of the day, it didn't have anybody else's name above the door. So you were allowed to be, Alan's thing always was, you're in charge of your wages. How much do you want to earn? Well, I'll tell you what you need to do to get it, but it's up to you. So if you want that much, then that's what you do. And that was in the beautiful days of tiny basic wages. So the commission, your 30% commission was the real deal back then, because
you could get a mortgage on your basic wage.
You were guaranteed about 50 quid or something, something like that. But obviously you were accountable for that. So did that suit you? Did you warm to that kind of counting and keeping the numbers? And
because I'd always been a bit of a geek. I'd always done my homework and everything.
Aye, and then you found that work really well. I mean, to this day, your book's up to date, isn't it? Aye. I could pretty much, I know exactly whether you're up on treatments this year and last year,
And I've already got my colour cards out for Tuesday.
Right.
That's tomorrow.
And it's true. You know what I mean? It's like,
I like to be organised.
Oh, it's metronomic. It's not even organised. I think it's too small a word to describe how you guys. But the whole salon was like that. When I was a wee guy,
I know it was.
It was absolutely like that.
Even like at the Congress, one of the other directors came up and said to me, "Do you still do your own shiatsus?" And I said, because I think I'd rather talk to a client that I've known for 30 odd years at the backwash, than sit in the staff room on my phone. Yeah,
aye. It's amazing, and because again, the reason for having you as the star of the brand is in the first one of this series is you have walked the talk. At the end of the day, you've absolutely walked the talk, and by doing that as a role model, so you'll know, like,
that was one of my favourite awards I ever won.
Getting role model.
Because the staff voted for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember that?
That's what I'm wearing.
Oh, is it?
I'm wearing that's my role model.
All right.
And as you say, it is one of the favourite ones because it was the people around you that picked that one. I forgot we used to get to vote for that one. That's interesting.
Aye, I think it was only once that the staff got to vote for it.
All right.
I think it was only 1 year.
Right, I'm actually writing that down. Vote to be stylish.
Because even I miss even like for the Assistant of the Year award, I used to like writing a thing about for the assistants, like the ones that were really good. Whereas this year it was more like a pop video that they did.
Aye.
Which is brilliant because I can't do a pop video. But
but the good thing with that, with the video, actually this year there was more writing this year than the year before. So they did actually have to put more into that bit of it, only because the year before was really video-y, and we thought that was unfair to the ones that might not be so great at that, and it was more difficult to judge.
Aye.
Whereas we had a sort of question and answer portal, and they had to write all that in that bit as well. I think
because I used to like writing a thing for them and then getting all like my clients to write a wee thing for them. For their when they did a folder, but I know folders.
Well, I think they can they're still meant to get referrals, still meant to get client referrals as well. But I think it's so important that you were the guy that colour cards were up to date, the figures were done, up on last year, this, that, and the next thing. But it proves it just wasn't a fluke.
That's what I say. That's how I find golf so frustrating, because I like playing golf now, but I'm not very consistent in my golf.
Yeah, whereas in salon it was whether, because even your timing with a client, I mean, there's no overruns. I don't
like running late.
You don't run late. No. If anything,
I do sometimes.
5 minutes before. And
usually because I've talked too much.
You've done something. You've been somewhere. It's been too interesting. You can't not tell the client. But how then did you find your build? So you're on the floor, sort of late 80s, beginning of the early 90s, and you're working through the then sort of Rainbow Room system. I don't mean easy, but was it pretty straightforward for you, hitting the targets and
so, because at that time you did like double promotions as well, didn't you? Which was really scary.
Yeah.
Because you were going up.
The price.
Up and up. Aye.
£6. You were jump like that. But I mean, and you were doing old numbers, so it was 176 clients, 132 requests, a heady 32 colours, and it was mental because it was 12 perms and 8 treatments. It was the other way around, and then it was 60 retail, which, I mean, if anybody was still doing 60 retail a month now, you would be putting them up on some sort of crazy pedestal. But you'd have been, were you not one of the 120s? Did you not? Did you not? That was like, I mean, 120 retail a period now in hairdressing. I think you'd get a plinth, never mind an award. I think there'd need to be some sort of statue of you in the stairs halfway up the landing at Main Street for hitting those kind of numbers. But again, that
was before people could buy stuff online as well, though, wasn't it?
I know, but you had to do it. Yeah, you had to do those. You had to do those numbers. But and what Alan will always talk about is that what a huge arsenal of clients you had to then progress through. Because even if you lost the 20%,
you'd still have enough.
And then you were building and building and building. So, in your journey through Rainbow Room, what's been big changes? What have you?
I think after lockdown, major changes. Lockdown was a nightmare as well, because I was like, I had so many clients that I wanted to do all the really regular, all my favourites.
Yeah.
And like we were only allowed about 6 a day then, remember?
That's right.
It's a nightmare. My dining room table was like an appointment book, and I had like every day set out, and I was like getting in touch with all my clients and booking them all in.
Aye. To then see when we could get back in.
Absolutely.
What I love is you saying out loud, we could only do 6 a day, which now pretty much if a stylist is doing 6 clients a day, they think they're the busiest hairdresser in the whole world, and that's a full day's shift, which again you're going, it's half.
But after that you would have done like 15 a day. You would have just said, sit on the stairs and I'll get to you. But they were sitting within a screen.
Well, nobody ever believes the whole thing with Buchanan Street about the idea that obviously as you would have to try and get an assistant to guard your chair. So that obviously when your client went to get their shiatsu and come back, that you'd actually still have somewhere for them to sit down or leave your handbag on there or whatever. But did you ever find it hard? Or even before COVID and building up and coming through the ranks, was there ever any bit where it was difficult, or was it pretty straightforward coming through?
I don't know. No, I think it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. I mean, from the outside looking in, it was the same. It was just always, and I mean that in an absolutely positive way.
I think people just came to get their hair done a lot more often then.
Yeah.
Than they do now.
Yeah. I think obviously short hair and obviously the price will be an issue. For the first time ever, Alan's talked about it as being a luxury item, whereas we were always hopefully in the necessity camp. Whereas, with the way that the world is and, the cost of running a business now, pricing is what pricing is, whether it's food, drink, clothes, cars, whatever. And hair's now in that bracket. But he certainly, talked about it now being a kind of luxury item. But yeah, I think after COVID, people were still coming back every 6 weeks for a wee while because it was like just in case we get locked down again.
I know,
and rebooking. Because I think the thing that's changed huge for us is we were always in charge of rebooking. And then because of online booking, that kind of gets taken away from us and the client, do you see with online booking, do you get your clients to book, like if you got a lot of clients that still use online booking?
Loads.
But do you get...
I make a note of that every day as well.
Do you get...
Like on Saturday, probably like 9 out of my 11 were online bookings.
Yeah. And do you get them to rebook their appointment online while you've got them? Or do you leave them to it?
Just leave them to it.
I mean, again, the thing for you as well, though, is that they know you're that busy that they need to rebook. It's not like they can just go, I'll go on, I'll see if Pam's got an appointment.
They rebook more than they used to, because at my clientele, when I was 5 days as well, my clientele was a rebooker clientele.
Aye.
And I quite liked that because I never get any cancellations. No. Because they booked 2 or 3 days before.
Yeah.
Whereas now I would say they all, most of them rebook. I think because of COVID as well.
Yeah.
Because they knew if they had an appointment booked, they were first in if we closed again.
And they were going to do that, yeah.
But now they do rebook, but I get a lot more cancellations, I would say.
Do you, because of that?
No. Aye, because they've booked weeks and weeks in advance.
And then kind of forget. Yeah. They need to chase up reception, make sure they're sending remember emails for that. We might be getting there, but there's a wee bit of tech with Forest that they're doing where basically the deposit would then be bigger for people that do that. You can actually tailor it. It's a bit like dynamic pricing for concert tickets, that if you're a habitual canceller, you can have a higher deposit and all that for it to just because you don't want to be saying to somebody, well, you're not getting back in because you're cancelling. Stuff happens to people, and that's fine. And a lot of these clients could have been coming to you for 30 years. It's not their fault, but equally, it's like time out your column, limited appointment spaces. You don't want to be losing that. So there's got to be positive ways of sort of nudging clients to make sure that they don't do it. Hopefully, we're going to go down the road of using that. The transition between sort of short hair and long hair and having to do a lot of that, do you sort of steer your client away from it? And are you doing a lot of long hair, or are you still doing
really. I
short
think
hair?
a lot of people kept their hair long after lockdown, didn't they?
Yeah. But do you find that you kind of are still pushing your clients into shorter haircuts and kind of stuff that you like to do, or
probably.
Yeah.
Aye.
When I mean, you kept a lot of your clientele from back in the day. I mean, a lot of your names, the names that you tell me are still names that I'd probably shat-sued half of them back in the day, and you still find them super loyal to the brand.
Just a lot of them have stopped colouring their hair.
Right? Have they?
Loads. A lot of them didn't do it the first lockdown, and then they did it the second lockdown, I think. Just because they maybe retired as well.
But again, it's the right. It's back to what Alan would always teach.
It's quite fashionable now as well.
It's the right thing on the right person for the right reason. It's now suiting their skin tone, and if it's the difference between them, what's quite exciting about that for me is the fact that they prioritise the haircut more than they prioritise the colour, which maybe would lean slightly to my love of cutting hair. The most, but equally, obviously, as a brand, we're backed up and famous for doing colour as well. So the great thing is Schwarzkopf have obviously gave us all these tools now to manage and look after white hair, whether it's in the absolute range or whether it's Chroma ID and all that kind of stuff. So, and the brilliant thing about that is you're not sticking a client going, in 6 weeks you're going to have a definite route, but we can still make your hair shinier and prettier and still look like we've just not forgot about them and that way. So I think sometimes that's a weird thing. It's just like, I don't colour my hair anymore, so we don't even think about that, whether it's silver shampoos or that whole range that they've brought out, with Chrome ID to tone the hair. So it's interesting, but still keeping them in mind like that, but not like, well, we're going to get a root tint and do all that. So obviously you were part of the team that were involved in kind of the handover from Alan running the business for all of that time, and then Will and Shannon getting it as a franchise. How was
I
all
can't
that?
believe how long ago that was. It must be a bit...
Honestly, I would have got that wrong.
You would have said 10 years.
When Will was in and talking about that, I would have got that complete. I can't believe they've been in there for the length of time that they're in, because it kind of still feels like yesterday to me. It's bizarre. How was that? Because that was seen as a big thing at the time.
I know. Because it'd always been Alan's salon.
Yeah. And how did you find it?
Right, it was fine.
Yeah. And obviously, it wasn't in the greatest state at the time when Alan was finishing it. There'd obviously been a lot of turmoil in the business, and there'd been a lot of stylists leaving. A lot of the next emerging group that were meant to be coming through weren't there anymore. But did you find that have an effect in the salon, or were you just still head down doing your numbers? You enjoy were just head down doing your numbers
and we just kind of got left to get on with it, I think.
And the thing is, the numbers...
Sold the scene.
Well, the other thing was the numbers that you enjoy would be doing yourself would be the more than like what the rest of the salons were doing kind of anyway. And did you find Will and Shannon just get in and start running from day one? Were they like getting really involved in it from the start?
Really positive.
Yeah.
But they did just leave us to get on with it, really, because I think they knew that we could run our own column without...
When you mean that, it was like you and Joy could obviously manage yourselves and look after that, and it gave them the space to focus on making sure that they can build up the young team. And you guys are sitting just now with pretty much a full in-house trained team just now, aren't you? I think all the kind of young team that you've got are all trained, which is brilliant. It's like it's always my goal, like, and I'm probably further away than I've ever been at the moment actually with that. But obviously because that's what I grew up under. It's just the next one of us coming through got the shot, the next one coming through got the shot. So again, when Will and Shannon were talking about that, especially at the last directors meeting, that their whole teams grew up through the brand.
I never thought about that.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely
really
fantastic.
Unusual.
It is, and it's a testament to kind of the work that they've done over that period of time, which is great. But again, they've got you and Joy to look at as role models. So they're getting that.
I loved going down to London as well for the awards. That was an experience. Twice we were down to London for the awards.
For the business
sharing
awards.
a room with Joy as well. That's an experience.
I'm sure that is. Okay, tips and ideas on how to get ready as well. But so that would be the business awards.
The business award. And then the salon, because we won Salon of the Year, we got was that 2 years ago? That was good as well.
So you got down to go do. Obviously, you were nominated for Salon Team and Salon Design that year as well. And obviously, another one of the years when I didn't win either. It's in the journal now. The journal just now is the business awards, and it's funny. I've got my clients flicking through, and I just joke. I go, "I really enjoy it. Remind me that I lost again. I'm a 2 times loser at this award." You're flicking through. Was that the one you were up for? Like, but not that we hold a grudge or anything like that. But I just want one, so I don't have to do it again. It's just because I grew up with Alan and Linda winning so many of them and getting to go down. I just want. And now, obviously, we have one in the salon. It's Rachel's, and it's lovely, and it looks fabulous, and I'm delighted for her, and that's great. But I would like one that would actually say Ricardo on it. Which, ironically, that one wouldn't have either, because they put it through as Rainbow International's podcast, not my podcast, which I know it's not, but you know what I mean. So we're going to wrap up soon. You'll be glad to know. You've done
eating again.
It wasn't that scary, was it? See, you've done an hour like that, and you've not even thought about it. If you were going to, right, so the girl that's put the money into the petrol to drive for Kirkcaldy through to Glasgow, is there anything
the red Chevette with the black leather seats that heated up in the summer?
Chevette's cool, but
I know, I probably would be now.
That was a cool wee car. What would your advice be to her now? What would you tell her? Having all of this experience now?
Probably just do the same.
Would you?
I'm quite happy.
Aye. I mean, I think that's something. I think that's another unique positive thing that's always came out of your story is, and people might think this is a bad word, is contentment. You're super contented in, this is what I'm doing, and again, you're sitting in front of me, right? But brilliant at it, right? You've walked the talk, you've done the numbers. You know, if you did actually bring your figure book, we could sit here and go through it and blow people's minds of the consistency from when I was a wee guy and you all had that one where you had it, and remember you would flip it over and the week would go that way, and you and Linda, it was kind of like early Filofax days, and you'd have them, and the fact that you did that, and that in a world where this telephone keeps telling you that you're no good enough, and the thing that you're doing is not fulfilling you, and the life that you've got is not good enough because you should be doing X, Y, and Z. You're sitting there going, oh, I love the brand I work for. I love the job that I've got. I love the life that it's gave me. And then from there, I'm still bloody good at it and still doing it. But off the back of that, you talk about golf. I mean, you look after yourself, don't you? I mean, you were running and making sure you were keeping fit. And
I don't run as much now because I've got skint knees.
All right. Well, listen, you've been doing all the clients and standing on your legs for all that length of time. But were you ever conscious about that, about looking after yourself to make sure you could actually still perform at the level?
No, probably not, but it does. I think it is quite strenuous, like physically and mentally.
No, of course it is.
Aye.
Of course it is. And again, the numbers that
12 in a row every day, it's quite...
The numbers you're doing, it is that. But, because that's interesting, because obviously we grew up with people that, you know, kind of fell by the wayside, or folk with hips and knees and shoulders.
Aye,
you know,
that's right. I know, I'm really lucky.
We've seen all that. Yeah, but you looked after yourself.
Aye.
You know, you've obviously, you have looked after yourself to get to that stage. And then when did you decide to, like, so many days a week you do now?
I've just cut down to 2.
You do 2. And still, you're a bit like my Jackie in that you're still doing more numbers than everybody at part-time, like proper part-time, not like 4 days kid on part-time, you know, that way, then people are doing full-time, which is terrifying. Having been so regimented and so used to doing the 5 days and that amount of clients, was it tricky going down to 2 days at first?
I done it gradually. I went to 4.
Right.
I went to 4 first.
Well, I'm not sure. Not sure.
No, I've done it really gradually over the last maybe 5 years or something.
Right.
Well, since lockdown, probably.
Yeah.
I think I was maybe doing 4 just before lockdown.
Right.
I think.
And was it tricky at first?
Aye, probably.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I done it to suit my clients because I've got that many clients that like to come on a certain day. So I worked like every day, but every second week, so it didn't upset anybody. People that say, "Oh, I was coming on Thursday." This is the first.
So have you got it that it's
so before I was doing Tuesday, Wednesday 1 week and Thursday, Friday, Saturday the next week.
Wow,
so that I was always in every day, but every second week.
Right.
But I've just recently cut out the Thursday.
Clever.
Just this week, week 1.
Is that week 1? There you go.
Week 1.
Week 1. It's always a system, Pam.
I
like that as well, by the way. I'm going to write that one down.
She knows it's week 1.
Always learning, different days each week. Brilliant. I like it. But yeah, I think that's a big step. You know, there's certain stylists that you can see, you know, going part-time did suit them, you know, but even Jackie, when she went down to part-time because her back, you know, that was a struggle for her because she was just used to doing the numbers and being in, and you're used to seeing yourself at the top of the list when the chart comes out, and, you know, whether you think you're competitive or not, you can't not be if you're doing those numbers and you're doing that, you know. And then the classic for you was always still every year going up to get self-promotion at Congress was always hilarious. That was like it was the funniest thing. It's like, it's not meant for you, Pam. It's not actually meant for you. But, you know, if ever there was a role model award, really, was actually, because every time you'd go up and I'd be like to my team, I'm like, you have no idea how hard that is for her to get self-improvement, but it's only because she's counting, because she knows she only needs to do
one more.
It's never changed. So you're telling that girl back then to just do the same and you know, take that choice again, that sliding doors moment of whether you'd have went to Rainbow Room or whether you'd have went to that other brand, you'd still have been turning right and driving to Glasgow.
Aye.
Amazing. Right, last question, and then you're free
Good.
to go, I promise.
Good.
So,
Sorry.
it's okay. I won't take it personally. 24 hours to live, right? You can go to 2 concerts. You can go to somebody that's still alive, and you can bring somebody back from
All the
the
ones
dead.
I like are dead, really.
I know. That was the only
Probably
thing.
Prince or Luther.
Right, as your dead ones, right?
Aye.
And who would you go? Who would you still go and see just now?
I'm going to see him in 17.
Oh, there you go.
A couple of months.
Do you know, like, for all, I mean, God, our paths and our wires are crossed, and our history is like, you know, I always laugh. The 2 things, I remember you telling me, for, you know, what would you like at a hairdressing? I said, I'd like a Ferrari. You always said that you picked the wrong job, son.
Did I?
Aye.
So?
Which was always really funny, because I always laugh and I go, if anybody that was ever been able to buy a Ferrari in Rainbow, it was probably been Pam. And then the other thing was music. Because Buchanan Street was amazing for that period.
I know.
Everybody was into music. Everybody loved their thing. Of all of the music stories, my favourite thing is still the idea of Linda Bardetti getting thrown out of the Apollo going to see Roxy Music because she stood on the seat. They were about a song in, because she was tiny, she stood on the seat. And of all of the people that get thrown out of the Apollo, and all of those years, they threw out Linda Bardetti going to see. So I remember she would always go to put on. And it was still tapes back in the day. And I don't know how many times, this is bad to admit this now, but I did not like Chic and Nile Rodgers and all that at the time. No, I had a real yowzer. I used to do my nutting when it would come on. And I used to throw that tape out of the first window of Buchanan Street all the time. And somehow, I don't know how, it made its way back up
When
the
I started,
stairs.
it was Soul to Soul, I remember.
Oh, well, that's me. That's,
Keep on moving.
I am, my dad's...
That reminds me of starting in the Rainbow Room.
1989 for me, sitting and selling ice cream at the Glasgow Cross. My dad's ghetto blaster behind me. That just instantly, that's where I am. Like, do you want raspberry in that? That's a time machine, soul to soul, at that period in time, which is just amazing. But the thing when it came to music with you was you talking about Lou Rawls. And I thought that was a wind-up for about 5 months, because you couldn't fact check it, right? And I thought that was like go and get tartan paint and go for a long stand. And I thought I knew like Otis Redding and Marvin and, you know, Bill Withers. I brought some of my soul ones for you, obviously, and I'm going, wrong, she's at it, you know. And eventually I had to go to HMV or Virgin and go through the bins and go, oh, right, it's a W. It was brilliant. And then, needless to say, going like, but you loved that smooth soul, didn't you? You loved all that, like Luther and all these guys were all, you know, that way. I liked the guys that maybe been smoking and drinking a wee bit more, like Wilson Pickett and all these kind of guys. I liked the ones that had a bit of life, whereas you loved all that absolute polished, amazing, smooth stuff. But it was brilliant. Well, on that note, then we'll leave in music, because it's been obviously an integral part of both of our lives.
Yes.
But listen, on behalf of everybody that's ever walked in your path, Pam, I'm going to say thank you, because you've been you're talking about being a role model. You're their role model. You're not a role model at Rainbow Room. You're their role model, because 90% of what we do in Rainbow Room International, whether it's a consultation, whether it's client care, whether it's looking after a client, everything that's on that step, you did it then and you still do it now, and it is just a testament to how amazing you've been and are. So from me and all the team, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.